I just came out of the sauna, and that's where I got my inspiration because I was doing a meditation while I was in there. What I want to share with you is something that has been very painful for me. It's something that's been coming to the surface lately. I wholeheartedly believe that this healing journey that we're on is never a one and done. I will love for it to just be like, I get to the mountaintop and I'm good. Like I'm done going into the valleys. I'm done having to climb. My ego wants that so badly. Some part of me that doesn't want to deal with the pain wants that. But the reality is that, at least in my experience, and that's all I don't profess to know that I have all the answers for you or that I'm an expert in anything. I can only share with you my experience, my strength, and my hope. And I am Kim Gross, the host of Masks Off for People Pleasers and Perfectionists, yet another mask that I've noticed that I still continue to wear. There are still places where I find myself hiding. And it's come to my attention recently that there still may be a way that I'm not fully free. I'm recording this episode on July 4th, Independence Day in the United States. And so as I reflect on the freedom that I have, while there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that I have so much freedom from where I used to be. There was a time when I was in a constant state of anxiety. I was depressed. I felt disconnected from myself. I felt disconnected from nature. I would wake up in the morning with this dread of, here we go, another day. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to feel my feelings. I had enormous amounts of pain. I was wearing the mask of perfectionism, people pleasing, and rescuing and controlling. It has been a journey for me to heal those parts of me, to heal the wounds, to heal my patterns, to unhook from my patterns. So I celebrate how much freedom I do have. I could not have written my book if I didn't have a certain amount of freedom. If I wasn't doing the work to remove my masks, I couldn't have written it. But it doesn't mean that I'm done. It doesn't mean that I've arrived at this pinnacle and from here on out, it's smooth sailing. Do I have a lot more peace in my life? Absolutely. Do I have more joy, love, more gratitude? In fact, I've been feeling like I'm reconnecting with my life force, with my essence, my aliveness, my vitality. And that's what I want to talk about because for so long, for much of my life, this is what I came to realize and recognize while I was in the sauna is that for so long, I suppressed or I squandered my life force. For so long, I didn't allow myself, or I was afraid to feel the full range of my feelings. I didn't want to feel the good feelings, the powerful state, such as love, gratitude, joy. I was always afraid to feel too much joy or to feel happy. I was afraid that if I felt it fully and I was there and I allowed myself to fully express, fully expand, that the shoe was going to drop, that those feelings would be ripped away. I had this way of suppressing, of pushing it down anytime I got too happy or I felt too good. And I will be honest and say that there were times when I would squander my joy, my good feelings about myself, my confidence, my gratitude, my love when I was around other people that I cared about deeply who were in pain. If I felt they were in more pain than I was, I had this way of putting on my mask and hiding that I was feeling so good. I didn't want to make them compare themselves to me and feel even shittier than they already were. So I would hide those parts. And then at the same time, I was afraid to go to the other end of the spectrum, which was to feel my more painful feelings, to feel anger. I did not do anger. I suppressed anger at all costs, even sadness. I was afraid that if I allowed myself to feel sadness, fear, anger, any of those emotions, that it would swallow me whole, that I would fall into this abyss and never come out. I believe that came from my childhood experience, which I do write about in my book. When I was a young girl and I was crying, I would cry alone on the floor in this little tiny space between the wall and my bed. I would crawl in there whenever my mom was mad at me and I was crying. I would sob so uncontrollably. It felt like the pain was going to kill me. It just hurt so much. My chest, my throat, everything felt so tight and it hurt to cry that much. And it scared me to have such big emotions. And so then I learned how to suppress my emotions. As I went into adulthood, I would at all costs not cry in front of other people. I would not allow myself to feel too deeply. If I started to feel that same overwhelming, out of control feeling, I would just distract myself and I would shut it down. I would disassociate. Because I was so afraid to feel my feelings and my emotions fully at the top of the range, the powerful state to the primal state, I kept myself in this middle place where I was stoic. I was suppressed. I stayed even keeled. I denied myself the experiences of feeling those feelings. The consequence was shutting down my life force, my vitality, because being able to feel all of our emotions, all of our feelings is what makes us feel alive. If I'm out in nature and I'm feeling completely connected to nature and I'm feeling the oneness and I'm feeling the energy in myself, and then it started to feel too overwhelming and I shut it down. I'm not even paying attention to nature anymore. I'm in my head, in my thoughts. Now I've just deprived myself of that experience of feeling fully alive, fully present, and fully connected, which is the yumminess of life. It's so yummy when you can let yourself fully feel. Another area in which I denied myself and my life force was to even shine my light. Before the age of 10, when I started to wear my mask of pleasing, performing, and perfecting, I share often on this platform that I can remember what it felt like to be in my true nature, to be my true self, to be in my essence. I can remember doing cartwheels and roundoffs and flips off the monkey bars and playing football with the boys, how my life force was so big. Like I just felt so empowered and powerful. I would remember feeling like I could do anything and be anything. I used to imagine that I could be Superwoman, I could be the Bionic Woman, if you're old enough to remember who the Bionic Woman was. I just had so much life force, so much life energy. But then as I started to put those masks on, it started to suppress that and started to squander it. As I had experiences, such as the one I write about in my book, again, when I tried out for Snow White and I was told that I couldn't be Snow White because I couldn't sing. And so I attached this meaning to that experience that I wasn't worthy. And then the experiences just kept going. When I was in middle school, I tried out for softball and I wasn't good in the beginning, but then because I was athletic, I got better, but I still was put in right field, which some would say, well, okay, what's wrong with being in right field? I wanted to be a pitcher or I wanted to play first base. And I believed that I could. Eventually in high school, I did play first base and I was good enough. But at the time, my coach was like, nope, you're not good enough. You're going to play right field because usually the players that aren't as good go to right field. That was my point in the right field. And so I started to believe, I developed a belief system that I wasn't worthy. I wasn't good enough. And those experiences continued into high school. I had experiences, and then in college, and then even in my adult life. Fast forward to where I am now, as I reflect on this podcast, I'm going to be fully honest with you and say that there are times where I wonder why my podcast isn't having more of a reach, why more people aren't engaging. I don't proclaim to be the best out there by any means. I'm not saying that I am Mel Robbins or a Tony Robbins or anything like that, but I do believe that what I share on this podcast every single week for the last 5 years with almost 300 episodes. I show up every week committed and I try to show up as authentically as I can, given where I'm at in the moment. I am trying to be as real and transparent as possible. But what I noticed, and this is what I really want to share with you, is what I became aware of while I was doing my meditation in the sauna, which is why I came on here to share with you right now. There still is a way that am hiding. And it wasn't conscious to me. I'm not doing it to intentionally deceive you. I didn't even know that there's this way that I'm still hiding. And it's because of this subconscious program that has been running beneath the surface for so long. I believe that I'm not worthy to be in a spot where the attention is on me. And so energetically, I am most likely still on some level squandering my life force. I'm not allowing my full potential, my full self to show up and come through because subconsciously there's this fear that I'm not worthy to have people follow me. I'm not worthy to have a lot of people pay attention. Or there's a fear that if too many people follow me and now the spotlight is on me and I do become more of a public figure, then what does that mean? Then I'm on a pedestal and I can't fail. A lot of people in my life would put me on a pedestal, including my husband. When he first met me 34 years ago, he had me on a pedestal like, oh, Kim's in graduate school and she was a straight A student and she went to college and she does this and she does that. People would put me on a pedestal for my accolades and achievements, but not necessarily because of who I was. So if I'm put on this pedestal, of being in the spotlight more, and my podcast all of a sudden does take off and more people are tuning in and paying attention, they may put me on a pedestal at first, then all of a sudden, well, oh, that was a shitty episode, or she doesn't know what she's talking about, or oh my God, I can't believe she said that. Why would she say that? And then I fall off the pedestal. The amazing thing is that I have the awareness, right? Because having awareness of my patterns is the first step. And that's the first step for you as well. It's the first step of my 5-step power pathway that I created. It's the pathway, the process that I use to work through all of my patterns. It's how I heal. So the first thing is to become aware. So now I have the awareness. It wasn't fully accessible to me until this morning in the sauna. I could feel the vibration of it underlying, like the undercurrent of it, but it wasn't fully ready to come to the surface until just this morning. Now there's something more open in me that is ready to really look at this pattern, to heal it, to feel it, and release it, right? So first step again is P, the first step of the 5-step power pathway. P, recognize my pattern. Second step is O, ownership, or own your shit. So now I have to own it. The only person that can change this for me is me. No one out there is going to say, hey, Kim, let me fix this pattern for you. Now, people can help me. I have a coach that helps me to see these things and guides me, but she can't fix it for me. She can't change it for me. Only I can do the work to change it. So then the third step is W, POW, the willingness to feel in order to heal. In order for me to heal this old pattern, I have to feel the feelings that go along with feeling unworthy of being able to play first base, the feelings of being unworthy of not getting Snow White, or the feelings of I may not be worthy enough to be in the spotlight. Now, let me just add one caveat to this. Does this mean I have to go back to every single memory that I've ever had where I felt unworthy to be in the spotlight or to shine my light and have my life force come through? Absolutely not. It's not necessary. If it comes up, great, feel it. But you don't have to go back to every one. It's just the overall pattern, the energy that underlies the pattern is what has to be felt in order to be healed. Now, not just felt and you just sit with it like for days. What I'm saying is E, the fourth step of power, POWE, is to embrace the part of yourself that was wounded. So, what I often do is I bring in my adult self or my higher self, or if that part of me is offline and not available because I'm really having a hard time, then I might imagine my mom who's passed away, or my grandmother on my dad's side who was always the most kind, nurturing, welcoming, caring, open presence. So I might imagine her being there and being by my side and helping me to feel that pain, to heal that wound. So now you've got POWE. It's embracing and integrating that part of myself. It might happen in one round, it might take several rounds. It depends on you and how deeply rooted that program is, or the program might come up. And when I say program, I mean your subconscious pattern, your subconscious mind. It comes up, maybe you work with it, it seems to heal and dissipate for a while, and then maybe down the road, a year or 6 months, it comes back around because now you're at another point on the spiral of healing. And so you're just coming back around to learn something more, to go a little bit deeper with it. Okay, and then finally, I've done this embracing, I'm integrating that part of myself. So now R is taking radical responsibility. Well, what can I do differently? I'm doing it right now. I'm showing up, I'm recording an episode, and I'm allowing myself to be fully expressed. As I speak to you in real time, there's no part of me that is censoring. There's no part of me that's putting a mask on and saying, maybe you shouldn't say that. I'm allowing the energy to come through me and just speak. Where this is something that is new because before, and maybe you can hear a difference if you've been listening to my podcast regularly, and thank you for listening. Everything I've been sharing over the last 5 years does not mean that it was not valuable. Right now, where I'm at, as I grow, as I heal, as I evolve, I'm only going to bring you content that is more rich, deeper. As my healing becomes more profound and I allow my life force and my energy to come up, it's only going to bring more value to you. So I'm excited for that. And if you've been listening, as I said, for a while, you may hear the difference. Maybe it's very subtle, but I can tell I feel a difference in me as I speak and share with you today. I feel more relaxed. I feel more comfortable in my own skin. I feel like I'm coming from my body and from my energy, my life force. So, obviously, as I said, I'm not an expert by any means. I don't proclaim to be an expert. I'm knowledgeable, I'm intelligent, I'm educated, I have a master's degree, I was in education, I've done a shit ton of work, I've done a lot of reading, a lot of research, I have a lot of wisdom right now. But more importantly, more than anything, right? Because those could be the masks. I have a master's degree, I'm educated, I'm intelligent, which all those things are true. But those are more like the ego things, the outside things, the accolades. But what I can tell you that I hope is coming through me is my experience, my strength, and my hope for what is possible for you and for me for now and for the future. That's my mission, to help people become aware of their patterns, to be able to unhook from them, to unmask and become as much of your true self as you possibly can, because that is going to ripple out into the world, and that's what's going to change the world one person at a time. And I know that sounds cheesy and very cliche. It's like, be the change that you want to see, make a difference. One person is, it's important. It's cheesy, it's cliche, but it's true. It is so, so true. And I believe that. I just wanted to come on here today and share with you. I don't know when I'm going to release this one, but I'm going to end on one last thing. Again, because it is the 4th of July in the United States, I'm going to take a moment to share a reading with you from Melody Beatty's Language of Letting Go, first edition. I read from these books every day, year after year. The wisdom she shares is timeless. So today is about celebrating, obviously. So here's what she says for today. Take time to celebrate. Celebrate your successes, your growth, your accomplishments. Celebrate you and who you are. For too long, you have been too hard on yourself. Others have spilled their negative energy, attitudes, beliefs, and pain on you. It had nothing to do with you. You have been a gift to yourself and to the universe. You are a child of God, beautiful, a delight, a joy. You do not have to try harder, be better, be perfect, or be anything you are not. Your beauty is in you, just as you are each moment. Celebrate that. When you have a success, when you have an accomplishment, enjoy it. Pause, reflect, rejoice. Too long you have listened to admonitions not to feel good about what you have done, lest you travel down the downward road to arrogance. Celebration is a high form of praise, of gratitude to the Creator for the beauty of God's creation. To enjoy and celebrate the good does not mean that it will be taken from you. To celebrate is to delight in the gift, to show gratitude. Celebrate your relationships, celebrate the lessons from the past, the love and warmth that is here today. Enjoy the beauty of others and their connection to you. Celebrate all that is in your life. Celebrate all that is good and celebrate you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.
Hey, Kim Gross here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Masks Off for People Pleasers and Perfectionists. I invite you to hop on over to my website, kimgrosscoaching.com. Right there on the front page, there's a quiz for people pleasers and perfectionists. You can find out if you have tendencies. You can also get into my newsletter where you will be given valuable content every week on different topics I share here in the podcast. And if you really did enjoy this episode, if you found it helpful, if you found it valuable, please go to, if you're on YouTube, go and subscribe. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, then I invite you to leave a review. You can even do a star review. It doesn't have to be a written review. If you know of someone who can benefit from this podcast or this particular episode, please share it with them. I'll see you next time.